let's talk about ions. Ions, as you know, are atoms with an electrical charge. So we know that protons define the element, and we know that protons, the number of protons in an atom of a particular element, is the atomic number Z. So Z is the number of protons. And we know that Z, the number of protons, is on the periodic table. So for example, here we have nitrogen. We zoom in, we can see nitrogen has an atomic number of 7, which means it contains 7 protons. Now, if the atom is neutral, it must have an equal number of electrons. So nitrogen has 7 electrons when it is a neutral atom. When it forms an ion, it does so by gaining or losing electrons. So if an ion is positive, we call it a cation, and I like to draw the cation with a T that looks like a positive sign to remind me that it is positive. So cations are positive, and they are positive because they have lost electrons. Okay, now remember, your brain associates the word loss with negative, when in fact, in this case, it needs to associate the word loss with positive, because when you lose electrons, you will have more positive charge than negative charge, so you will be positive. Anions are negative. Okay, so cations are positive, anions are negative, and they are negative because they gained electrons. Okay, so whoops, cations are positive because they lost electrons. Anions are negative because they gained electrons. Remember, protons define the element, so the number of protons does not change. Okay, let's look at how we calculate the charge on an ion. The charge is going to be the number of protons minus the number of electrons. And remember, the number of protons never changes. It's on the periodic table. So let's consider the nitrogen ion that has 10 electrons. Okay, so nitrogen. First thing we need to do is look for the number of protons. So we just looked at that in the periodic table. Remember, it's this number right here. So that's 7. So it has 7 protons. And we're considering the charge on the nitrogen ion that has 10 electrons. So protons minus electrons, in this case it's -3. So the way we write that in chemistry is we write the number first and then the charge, and we write it as a superscript. So we'd write N3 minus. That means the charge on the nitrogen ion is -3. Okay, let's do another one. Let's maybe choose a positive one this time. Let's do magnesium. Okay, so let's calculate the charge on the magnesium ion that also has 10 electrons. So first thing we have to do is find the number of protons in magnesium, which is right here. You can see magnesium has 12 protons. 12 protons minus 10 electrons. 12 minus 10, +2. So the charge on the magnesium ion we write as 2+. Again, that's a superscript. We write it above the line. We write it smaller than our regular font, and we put the number in front of the charge. So it is 2+.